All right, my friends, so we're late, so let's get started. We are learning, reviewing Siman Shin Yud Gimel and Shin Yud Daled about Binyan BeKeilim. The first part of that review sheet is actually Shin Gimel, which we learned last time, so that we're not reviewing. I just sent it out because it was part of the same sheet. And we're starting with Shin Yud Gimel. So it's basically the halachas of Binyan BeKeilim. And before we start, I'll just mention the machlokes everybody knows about, which is, what does the Gemara mean when it says Ein Binyan BeKeilim? There is no binyan with Keilim. Rashi says it means, of course, that there is no binyan with Keilim at all, no matter what you do. The concept of binyan does not apply to Keilim. It only applies to Karka. Nevertheless, according to Rashi, you cannot make a Keli because that would be Makabah Patish. But there is no binyan per se. And the nafkamina between Rashi and Tosfos, actually, let's first say Tosfos before we say the nafkamina. Tosfos says that Ein Binyan BeKeilim means there is no binyan if it's a binyan garua, if it's a inferior type of building, a non-important, not tight, not permanent, not professional type of building, then it's Ein Binyan BeKeilim. But if it's a strong type of binyan, then there is Binyan BeKeilim. And each of them has their proofs and their gemaras and so on and so forth. Nafkamina is the gabe din of stira, of destroying, because the opposite of binyan is stira. But like we said many times, there is no opposite of makabah patish. So if there is no binyan BeKeilim at all, then there is no isser to destroy a keli, because there's no isser, it doesn't apply. Or the Tosfos does apply, so that's going to be the nafkamina. I mean, there'll be other nafkaminas also, but that's the... Oh, presumably you're doing it for a reason. You want to get to the wine. You want to get to the figs, whatever is inside. You're not doing it just to be wasteful, presumably.
Only Makabah Patish, it's like to change the Binyan BeKeilim.
חוץ מהבעיה של בניין, יש גם בעיה של מעקה בבטיש. גם זה וגם זה, או שרק זה. אם אין בניין בכלים, על כל פעמים יש איסור מעקה בבטיש.
כן, אין בניין בכלים, אבל הבניין בכלים, only if he make מעקה בבטיש, then is like a bonnet.
לא. אולי לא. יש אומרים שאין בניין בכלים בכלל, אבל מעקה בבטיש יש. כי זה סוג אחר של מלאכה, אבל זה כן שייך לכלים.
Let's say if I just need to just
Rashi.
With a cup, let's say to what's the finish it like? Let's start with
glaze.
Huh?
glaze. זכוכית, נשים זכוכית.
לא יודע, מעקה בפטיש, it's to finish just little bit to finish it, right? To make it ready for use. So it's called also bniya too while you do that?
יכול להיות, אלו שסוברים יש בניין, יכול להיות שזה גם זה וגם זה, יכול להיות.
יש מחלוקת בין בניין, אין בניין בכלים.
מחלוקת.
Okay.
We're saying that Binyan BeKeilim, it's all size Keilim, given the plain building that you said, and like.
No. The Ran says that binyan for sure applies to big Keilim, because that's considered mechubal karka. The Ran.
But Rashi.
Rashi doesn't mention
when
it.
He said like Binyan BeKeilim, Rashi said Binyan BeKeilim, he said also.
He doesn't mention it.
The Ran says that you Rashi will hold that to him?
I think so. I don't know if he mentions it.
That's what Rashi was referring to?
I don't know if he says it about Rashi, but that's his pshat, which the poets can bring down. So I don't think Rashi addresses it, and I don't think the Ram puts it into Rashi either. He just says it as a matter of fact. Could be Rashi agrees, could be not. I don't know.
How big does an item have to be for it to be a karka?
1 by 1 by 3 tall.
All right.
Mem saw, exactly. 40 saw.
1 by 1 by 3?
Yeah. That's also halacha concerning Tumah and Tara, in terms of something. 3 tall, 1 by 1 wide. Doesn't have to be that proportion. It could be, you know what I mean, that cube, that volume.
Would you give an example for Makeda Patish ones and Binyan BeKeilim ones, so I will have more idea?
אם אתה עושה כלי, אתה לוקח חתיכת עץ, ואתה תוקע את זה לתוך מתכת, ואתה עושה, how do you say a shovel? מעדר. אתה עושה מעדר.
אוקיי.
אז אולי זה בניין, בנית מעדר, אולי זה לא בניין, הם לא סוברים שיש בניין בכלים, אבל לכל הפחות זה מכה בפטיש, כי גמרת את הדבר.
אז זה ביחד עשית, הבנתי עכשיו.
Actually, there is also an opinion of the Ran, another answer of the Ran actually, that says something else. That says, Ein Binyan BeKeilim. There is no binyan with a keli that already exists. If the keli already exists and you just want to add to it, that's not binyan. But if you make the keli from the beginning to the end, from scratch, Mato said kol keli, then yesh binyan. Another opinion. I don't know if we really went into that opinion, but it's another opinion that's worth mentioning. Okay, so to go to some practical applications, or maybe not so practical applications, because we don't really have these types of hinges and all that. But anyway, if you have a door with hinges that it rests in the hole, there's a hole on top, there's a hole on bottom, and the hinges stick out on top and stick out on bottom.
Can we say like similar to the closing doors that we have now?
Maybe some closets still have that. I don't know.
Like they're like kind of brackets and at the end to go.
Yeah, the ones with the pins are not this. The ones with the pin, if it fits in tightly, is Binyan BeKeilim or Makar Patash, either one. I don't think this discussion will affect that at all. And the difference is that when there's these two holes, top and bottom, so the bottom one is easier to get in because when the top one is in place, so it's already kind of more or less in the right place, and you just push it in and it stays. Also because the weight of the door pushes it in place and holds it in place, so it's not difficult to push it back in to the bottom one. The top one, where you don't have the weight of the door pushing it in place, that's harder to get in place. And if you do get it in place, that's considered binyan. That's considered significant. I don't know how they used to do it. I don't know if they had springs. Without springs, it's hard to understand anyway how you got it in. If it doesn't, how does it fit? How do you get it into the hole?
First you push it up, then push it down.
Was it a movable pin? Did it move?
No, it's part of the door. You can make it either one, but to be able to put it in both holes, you have to first the pin going up, and then the other pin going down, and then it's a little bit shorter, and then it's open again.
I'm not sure. Maybe. Could be. I don't know.
But both things, there's no way to put it in if you don't. There's no way.
I hear what you're saying.
Door? Delet?
That's what we're talking about. So, then we also discussed, I'm not going to go so much into detail about this because it's, I don't know how big it is.
Which one?
Where do we start from? Aldarba?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Hilchos BeKeilim, Yudalid. Yeah. Okay, we also discussed the one hinge door, which is really not a problem because it's not tight. But we said nevertheless, on Shabbos, you're not allowed to put it in because if you could put it in one hinge, maybe you'll come to put it in two hinges. On Yom Tov, for the purpose of Simchas Yom Tov, they were makel about this. Now the point is that on Yom Tov, about doors that only have one hinge.
Oh, okay.
You'll have to just pick it up and put it aside. Or we consider it over there.
Are the hinges in the top and the bottom? Right?
No, here it's just here on the side.
I think this is the lock one.
No.
This is the hinge?
Yep.
It's not like the cobweb going like this or whatever?
No.
You hold it and you put the pin and that's it?
That's it.
Okay.
Sorry?
If it came out, there's muksa, we're not allowed to move it on your way. Or it's not safe.
No, if it's muktzah. If it has a use, if you can use the door like as a, no, if you can,
It's a touch.
no, if you can put it down and like use it as like a little table, like a little thing, so then it's not going to be muktzah. We don't hold of noiled. We paskin like a Shimon, not like a Yehuda. Therefore, noiled is mutter on Shabbos. So even though it used to be a door, you're still allowed to use it as a table.
So
if it,
Usually it's not its purpose.
yeah.
So
If you don't hold of noiled, so then you're allowed to change the purpose. You're allowed to use something for a different purpose.
bye-bye.
I mean, you're always allowed to use it for a purpose, but even if the first purpose is not usable for it, you could use it for another purpose.
So I can put it on top of the table, like to use for the table, and then I don't want that, and I can put it on the side.
You don't even have to use it. If it's
So it's not
usable,
muktzah, you can put it outside
if
the
it's
side.
usable, it's not muktzah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
usable. If it has no use at all, then it would be muktzah like anything. I think.
Can you put it outside?
I think, but I'm not sure because I'm just remembering now that there is a concept of muchanim al gabe imon. There is a concept in Hilchos Muktzah that because their mother is not Muktzah, and they started Shabbos as part of their mothers, that they still remain non-Muktzah. You see what I'm saying? Because they're part of that, you know what I mean? That cupboard, and the cupboard is not Muktzah. I'm talking about a movable cupboard. So even though they're broken, but they're going to go back there, so they're still considered like part of it. There is a concept of that, but I'm not clear on it, so I'm not sure. Sorry.
Yeah, I was saying if you put it inside or outside, leaning against the wall, you're not creating an oil.
No, you're not. That's not your intention. It's not your intention. If it is your intention, then you can't. If it has a roof, of tefach, either straight or within 3. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So, what was I saying? Oh yeah. The purpose of allowing the one hinge door, by the way, in Yom Tov was because they wanted to allow commerce on Yom Tov. Commerce. Masa umatan. They wanted to allow it, not for the purpose of commerce per se, but they wanted people to be able to sell their wares in quotation marks, not sell with money and not sell with writing or even with saying that they're selling, but for people to be able to come and get what they need and pay after Yom Tov. There's ways to do it. As long as you follow the rules, you don't specify a price or anything like that. So because the merchandise was usually kept in these kinds of cupboards, which had doors with one hinge, So the Chacham will make on Yontif to allow them to take it out and put it back in order to make that possible.
So it's like a basta. There's all the stuff, and people come over and take a look. Pay Monday, Sunday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Like even do this mitzvah should be only for food.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Absolutely. And only for what you need on Yontif, not for after Yontif.
When's opening up?
Sorry?
Jew that's opening up?
Even a Jew. I think he's supposed to open only from the back door, not from the front door. So it shouldn't look like a regular day.
So how did this come into, well, we don't really do it nowadays.
I mean, we don't do it on a wholesale basis, but if your neighbor happens, if you live in Israel and you're the corner store, the guy lives on top of a store and you run out of a product on Yontif, you're allowed to ask him to get it for you from the store. And he doesn't tell you that you don't mention the word sale or payment or anything like that. And you pay after Yontif. That's allowed till today. All right.
By the way, for this purpose, you're allowed to tell the guy to put the alarm off.
Put the alarm off?
Yeah, for the schools.
No, it's electric, Rabbi. You don't allow to put electric, Rabbi.
I don't know.
We studied that, Rabbi. We studied.
No, when he turns it off, it's not
You
obsecration.
don't allow to
Turning
turn
it off,
off
turning it
or
off.
on.
The goy, not the Jew, the goy. Tell the goy to shut so you're able to go in to get the.
Are you allowed to do that? Are you allowed to do that? Hey, Rabbi, we study anything you don't allow to do, you don't allow to send the goy.
Tell a goy to get the food from the fridge when the lights get turned on, and then if you're not able to put a towel, so then you can ask him to take the light bulb out.
Okay, that's not obsecration already. That's because the first one is obsecration.
Right.
To open it is obsecration. To take the light bulb out,
Switch the source on.
right? No, so that's because it's. No, that's because that's because the light is not creating a coal, so it's not right machaba. Yeah. So, but here, if he's turning it off, it's not obsecration. That's his intent. So I don't know.
We study anything you cannot do, you don't allow to say to the goy.
So that's it. Simple.
I think
Yeah,
so.
but that's not the situation over here. That's a related. That's a related.
Alarm.
Your abundance asking the goy to get something.
Alarm, electric.
Okay, so in terms of the, let's just go back to what you were saying before about large kalim. Large kalim is, we said, 3 by 1 by 1 amais, which is the amount that would be able to hold 180 gallons. 40 so. Now for a mikvah, by the way, these are my notes from last time, written up on one of my talmidim, so you can thank him for these 7 pages.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't have time for 7 pages nowadays, but Baruch Hashem, he did the work. I just edited it. So, Lamaisa, just for your information, totally side point, we are strict on mikvahs today, and we hold that you should consider 40 saw to be 264 gallons, which is the Shir Chazanish. Because when it comes to mikvahs, we like to have everything kosher according to all opinions. Shouldn't be anybody who says, well, there's a problem with this mikvah, you understand? So even if we're not normally chayshish for an opinion, when it comes to mikvah, we always are chayshish. Besides the fact that we try to have double the amount of water that is necessary, just in case. But even as far as the basic amount, we consider it not 180, but 264.
So
Anyway.
264 according to Chazanish.
Yeah.
Chazanish was much in early time to us. So what they did until before the Chazanish?
For the Chazanish, they called it the Noda B'Yehuda. The opinion of Neskatnu HaShiyurim is from the Noda B'Yehuda. Chazanish held like that, but it's not his opinion that he made up. What did they call it before the Noda B'Yehuda? I don't know. Before the Noda B'Yehuda, according to the Noda B'Yehuda, they actually had bigger eggs, you understand? And then he realized, oh, this is a problem here because they used to be big. At what point did they become smaller? That I don't know already. In the in-between time, that I don't know. Okay.
Is that shear size only l'chumra, or is it also l'kula?
I think it's only l'chumra. Pretty sure it's only l'chumra. You mean lemaisa like on Yom Kippur? Is that what you mean? You mean on Yom Kippur, yeah?
Sure.
To eat less than kaisevas or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's only l'chumra. Okay, so we discussed the fact that anything is connected to the ground is going to be much more strict, and it doesn't have to be professional. It doesn't have to be tight. Any improvement to a home is connected to the ground, to the floor, to anything connected is much more strict. So, for example, we said if your yard has too much water in it, the person makes a little hole so the water can go out. That's boina, b'doraisa. Person has a little hole in the yard, fills it up so the ground should be smooth. It's boina b'doraisa. A hole in the wall, be able to put a little hook in there to hang a picture. Boina b'doraisa. Much stricter. In that context, we discussed the problem that sometimes it would get too hot and people would take out the window panes from the window on Shabbos, which we said seems to be an Isser Mid'oraisa, and therefore would seem to be Asr even through Goyim, right? Because an Isser Mid'oraisa you cannot do through Goyim. But then we said that some say it's only a shvus to shvus. Some say it's only a rabbinic violation to take out those window panes.
Was allowed to take the windows off?
When you're talking about you're not talking about the windows. You're talking about the covers of the windows. You're talking about the covers of the windows. Yeah? The covers of the windows you could take off and put back as long as they were tied or hanging. That's the beginning of Shin Yud Gimel, actually. That's the part of Shin Yud Gimel we didn't learn. That's not the window itself. It's a cover. So, Nu, help me out here. Why would it only be the Rabbanan?
Question again?
Why would taking a window pane out of a window perhaps only be a Rabbanan?
Because we used to.
That could be a normal thing to do.
A while ago.
Definitely not a normal thing to do. When's the last time you took your window pane out?
What you used to do? We studied that, Rabbi.
No, they used to do it on exceptional occasions. It wasn't something you did every day. It wasn't like the cover of the window that Ronnie is talking about that they did every day. When they wanted to put in air, they took it out.
Yes, that's what we
No,
studied.
that's not what we studied. This is a window pane that is supposed to be in the window. But if there was a very big crowd, okay, they took it out. That's not what it was made for. Nu, help me out, Rabbi say.
Because it's the other hinges, it's like attached.
So why should it only be Darabanan?
I should be Mahmir.
Yeah?
You have the intent to put it back. Isn't that the issue?
Therefore what?
Let's see, I'm just reading here. So you could instruct.
It's not permanent.
Because it's not really.
In order to be, no? Why could it possibly only be Darabanan to take out a window pane?
Because it's not really bniyah. It's like
Because you're going to put stira and stira.
Talking about soiser. This shouldn't be binyan. This should be soiser. You're destroying. You're not building.
Well, you're not really destroying it, putting it back, there's still a use.
Oh, because it's not connected to the ground, maybe.
Oh, that's exactly the opposite.
Oh.
Nice try, though, but it's exactly the opposite. The fact that you want to put it back makes it worse, not better. Because in general, in order for steer, in order for demolishing to be asr mid'oraisa, it's only if the person is planning on rebuilding in that same place. Because otherwise it's a simple act of mekalkel, of destroying. And destroying is not an Isser D'Oraisa. It's only an Isser D'Oraisa if it's for the purpose of building. So the fact that you want to put it back makes it worse, not better. No?
So we can set, because you remove it, maybe you mekalkel and you cannot put it back.
You're planning to put it back.
But maybe mekalkel.
You're planning to put it back.
So
the answer is, some say that Soiser Amanas Livnois has to be with the intent of building a better building. If you knock down a building and you're planning to build the same schlumpy building that you had before, that's not an accomplishment. That's a kilkel. That's a waste of time and effort. It's worth it if you're going to knock down a building that's worth 300 per square foot and you're going to put up 600. Oh, you make a lot of money. But otherwise, you're wasting everybody's time and effort. So therefore, they say the window panes you're going to take out, you're going to put back. It's exactly the same.
Actually,
That's not, maybe yes, maybe no. I don't know. But in any case, it's not getting better. So therefore,
it's about improvement.
That's a tris. Tris is a cover of a window. It's not a window pane. It's a cover of a window. You cover the window at night so the ganavim shouldn't come in, and you open it in the morning so the air should come in. So that's allowed as long as you have it attached to hanging, whatever, all the different details. Sorry?
Give us another example of not destroying to build something better, but something that maybe halacha will be applying regular thing that we do.
Like what? What kind of halacha? Soiser?
Yeah.
Destroying? Destroying is always only if you're planning to build something, either build it or build it better. So something we do.
But that would be too obvious, right? So Shabbos.
I mean, we don't do it, hopefully. So I can't give you an example of something we do.
new model.
I mean, it's not something we do, but let's say.
The new window, new model of window.
Yeah, if you take out a window, you put out a nicer window. If you take out a window, you put in a better window. That's a problem. Or let's say you're.
Putting in the same window is not a problem.
No, it's not a problem. They're right. According to this opinion,
Right. According to other opinions, it would be.
yeah. Actually, no. Taking it out in order to put in the same window is not going to be a problem. They're right. But putting it back is. Because once it's out, the fact is it's out. Putting it back is binyan. Binyan doesn't have to be better than before. Stira has to be for the sake of making it better than before.
Once it's out, you got to leave it out.
I mean, yeah, you can't take it out even anyway. It's us and the Rabbanan for sure, but maybe it's not us at the rise.
But because it's machloket, you can tell the goy to remove it.
Oh, so that's what we're saying now. If a guy removes it because some say it's the Rabbanan, maybe it's not so bad. Shvus to shvus is mutter b'malka mitzvah, right? For a mitzvah, for a great need, for a financial loss, you could have a guy do something that's only us Rabbanan. Maybe this is us Rabbanan, so don't stop somebody else from doing it.
Also, you got baby, you need hair, old people, in the house.
Maybe. It's not the best, but maybe.
But for sick, you can do it by yourself.
Oh, deathly sick, yeah. Deathly sick.
Old people, babies.
No, only deathly sick.
Sick like ill.
Deathly ill. In life and danger, you can do it yourself. Otherwise, you can do it with a guy. Actually, here's an example of soiser that could happen. So we have a screen door in the back that is, it's like always off the tracks, on the tracks. It's like it's a problem door. So sliding. So when it comes to anything connected to the ground, it's a very serious thing to fix it. So for example, to put it back when it's not properly on the track, to put it back, just to snap it back in, is the pashtus is an Issa D'Oraisa. Simply speaking, should be an Issa D'Oraisa. Now, if in order to put it back the right way, you need to first take it out, that would be an example of Soiser Amanas Livnois Bim Koima in a better way. You're taking it out to be able to put it in better. So that would be a problem. Same thing with the shower door. You know what I'm saying? If it comes off the tracks, it's half in, half out. Taking it out to be able to put it back in would be Soiser Amanas Livnois.
Are you allowed to take it out simply so you can get through it, even though you intend to put it back after Shabbos?
No.
So if you're stuck in a room and the only way to...
You can't do soiser, you can't do soiser even if you're not planning to build it at all. And there are abundant, you can't do soiser even if you're just going to leave it out. Sorry, go ahead.
So if you're stuck in a room because the door is partially off a track or hinges, are you stuck in that room?
It's a hard one. I don't know. If that's the only way out, you're saying you can't open it any other way.
Your intention is just to get out of the room, whether or not you put it back on Shabbos or after Shabbos or never or whenever.
It's a hard question.
In this case that they brought up, this is one they can do it. So that two people do it.
It's going to make it less strict, that's for sure. Let's put it this way. If your question was the fact that you're going to put it back after Shabbos, does that make it better? No. The answer is no. Definitely, you're planning to put it back, right? Not on Shabbos, but after Shabbos. So that's still going to be Issa D'Oraisa.
If it's not my house and I don't really care about it, I'm just trying to get out.
I don't know. I don't know if we say that.
So we're stuck in the room.
I don't know. I don't have an easy answer for that one. You won't be able to call me, so I won't.
I was about to say.
Face that question. I don't know.
Can you save 3 meals?
I don't know. I'm sorry?
Push himself out. By pushing himself out, actually, it's closed the door completely out.
Same question.
Why?
Same question.
You didn't do it. It wasn't your intention to take it out.
It was your intention. Of course it was.
No,
I want to switch the light.
If it happened on the way, if it happened on the way, it's a davar she'enim skava. Okay. If it wasn't intentional, it's a davar she'enim skava. And if it was not necessarily going to happen. Question?
He mentioned
you going to ask something?
really good.
No.
He said, you're thinking, when you push yourself out, the door is closed. You're thinking about the light. You make like that. It's like you switch the light. It's the same problem with the push the door. Like you.
If it was not your intention, we're talking about, not if it was your intention.
Always it's your intention to close the door. Otherwise, what are you doing over there?
He's saying you want to go out. You don't want to close the door. Your intention is to go out. That was the question. Okay. So we discussed putting together these cups that they used to have made out of rings. The bottom line is anything tight, anything that you put together and it's going to be tight is a problem. Although we did say that Lego is perhaps not a problem, and that's why we let children under bar or bas mitzvah play with Lego. Why? What was the rationale behind that?
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Right, exactly, because that's the way it's supposed to be used. It's not considered like you're making a keli, it's considered that you're playing. To make something is to play with it. In other words, i.e., it's not a permanent thing. So, for example, a person would not be allowed to make, in Legoland, they have these things that are, made out of however many thousands pieces of Legos and blah, blah, blah. I'm saying, but when they're made the first time, they're planning to leave it there. That would be an Isser. Maybe D'Oraisa if you hold Binyan BeKeilim, because it is tight. But the whole thing is here, most kids, when they play, they're of course not planning to leave it there. So that's why, according to these opinions, it's not us.
That's why you get Ether for that, because it's not
for young kids.
To leave it like forever.
For kids. Sorry? My wife is negotiating with her sister whether we should go away or not. if we go away, I won't be here Monday night.
Tomorrow night's a dinner.
Month's in there. Anyway, yeah, but I'll be here anyway. We're just going to continue reviewing. We won't learn new.
This
But-
week?
Yeah, tomorrow night we'll be here.
Oh, okay.
Next Monday?
Next Monday, maybe not.
What's going next?
It's the
School break.
School break, the
Oh,
yeshivas
school
have
break.
off. Who else is going to be here? You'll be here
No.
next week? Oh, you're going away?
Yeah, I'm in Israel.
All right. Be away?
Going away?
No plans.
Not you.
Not sure. You'll be here.
I'll be here. I'll be
Okay.
here too.
So I'll let you know tomorrow night if it's Shem.
We can do it on a computer level.
No,
Why not?
I'll be driving back. If I'm going away, I'll be driving back.
You want to tell some?
Sorry?
Not yet.
All right.
Do your Hilchos on the way and the car just go.
Is that what this is? Okay, what is it?
Big screen.
All right. Anything that is a little bit tight but cannot be made very tight, we said is machloikis. If it's loose and it is supposed to be loose, then it's mutter.
What we consider tied? Anything that tied with a keli or tied by the hands also?
No, even by the hands. Even by the hands. For example, the screw caps that we have, I'm saying the bottle caps. The reason it's mutter is because that's the way you use it. In other words, that would be considered tight. But because that's the way you use it, to close it and open it, and it's something we do all the time, so that's why it's mutter. But if it would not be the way you use it, it would be the way you build a kelim. If you would have a bed that you would put together by screwing it, and then the way you use it is by lying on it, that would be a problem. So it doesn't have to be that you need tools. Using tools is a sign that it's tight, but it's not the only way it can be tight. Okay. Speaking
The
of,
thing is that you cannot untie it by hands. You cannot use a tool to untie to use
Well, so what's the difference between that and a Lego? Because that's the way you use Legos too. You put them together. But
one second.
Go.
Ronnie, go ahead. I don't understand your
Let's say
question.
you have a drawer,
Yeah.
glass jar. It's very hard. Sometimes there's special tool to unlock it.
That's okay.
What's inside?
As long as that's the way you use it. I mean, you use the jar by opening and closing it and putting it
So
inside.
if I use a tool to open it, it's
It's like you take the hammer for the food. Coconut. Something.
Yeah. What were you asking? Sorry. Danielle. Danielle, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was asking. But Legos, that's the way you use Legos too. So why is that usher? Because I mean, because you're building a model as opposed to putting a bottle back together.
You're asking what's the reason for the strict opinions? Is that your question?
Yeah, about Legos, because how's it different than screwing a bottle back together? Because I mean, they're both tight.
Well, that is the reason for the lenient opinions. You're asking what's the reason for the strict opinions?
Oh. Okay.
Because why do we not allow adults to play Lego? Why should we miss out?
Magnet tiles will do the same thing, right?
No, magnet house is not a problem. That's not tight. That's not tight. You can get down on your hands and knees, help your kids.
I see it. So it's kind of like you're sitting on a scale, but which way do I want to tilt it? Well, for little kids, I can tilt it to the okay. For adults, not okay. But for the bottles, since that's the way we use it, then we can tilt it to the okay. So, something like that, maybe.
You're asking why do we have to be strict? What's the logic to say that it's more strict than bottle caps? That's your question.
Yes.
Very. Mischakim b'Shabbat u'b'Yom Tov. Let's see what that says. אין למנות הילדים מלבנות בקוביות ובאבני פלא על כל מיניהם.
Are you reading it from?
שמיר שבס כהלכוסי. תזין יודחס. שמעתי מהגשש אורבך, מה דסמן שני דל סף א', אז התשובה נתן, צס יש די. תמד שם לפרק בדיר פילסטין. It seems from this note here, if I'm understanding it correctly, that the reason he's saying maybe it's more strict is because when you make something with it, you're making it from scratch. And maybe that's stricter than a case where you're just using a bottle cap, in which case the bottle already exists, the cap already exists, you're not creating something new. Whereas with the Lego, let's say you make whatever it is that you make. Perhaps it's the first time you're ever making that item. Understand? So when it comes to making something new, there perhaps is reason to be stricter and to say, well, that's perhaps we don't have the heter of using it when it comes to making something that you didn't have before at all. With me?
Yes, I see that. But it's still, but it's not. It's a doraisa. It's a durabanan, isn't it?
No, I don't think it's going to be a doraisa. I don't think it's going to be doraisa. I don't think so. Because is it considered a real keli? You really use it? I'm saying it's just a toy. Nobody even uses those things. I don't think it's a doraisa. My feeling about that. All right, my friends. What about supporting a falling house with a broken? With a bench. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Not literally supporting a falling house. Falling beam. Yeah. Binyan. That's it. Usher.
As long as it supports it, doesn't raise it.
As long as it doesn't raise it. It's not tight, and it's not tight. Because right at this point it's not tight. Because if it's
you put it there preemptively.
Yeah.
And right now it's not even tight, but it could be tight.
Yeah. If it's tight, it's a problem because we said you're being mevatel kli me'echana. You're ruining something from its use. Also, it has to be a bench and not a board, because if it's a board, it might look like you're building, like you're putting in an extra beam in the house. The bench doesn't really belong there, so that's why it might be mutter, depending on these details.
So even on the bench should be tight. It doesn't do its job if it doesn't tight.
Well, it's maybe there for the future, but right now it's not tight. Okay, if you have a bench that the leg came out, can you put it back in? Can you use it without the leg? No, you'll support it on another bench.
No,
If the thing could be put back
Before
in.
it came out completely?
If it could be put back, then you can't use it because it's Xavier that you might put it back. No, it came completely out, but it's not broken. You just have to stick it back in. So because you might forget and do that on Shabbos, you can't even use it unless you used it once before Shabbos.
Rabbi, you lost the leg, you're allowed to use it.
That's correct.
If you intentionally lose a leg,
If you actually lose it.
throw on the roof.
Roof?
When you get to your roof, never been on the roof.
Never been on the roof? You don't have a ladder? It's a big
Person
deal.
never been on the roof. It's leaving.
Okay, that's not called
I
losing.
plan on going on the roof.
That's not
Anything on the
losing
roof I
it.
consider unless I needed it, I guess.
I don't know.
But here's the point, Rabbi. It's a muktzah to go on the roof.
What's the most to go on the roof?
With the stepladder,
Why? No.
you allowed?
Why not?
When my son, he has toys on the floor and on the roof, not on Shabbat.
It's a different reason why you shouldn't let your little kid go.
No. Now, if you said it's okay, I will let them go.
I don't know. I mean, we learn about ladders with pigeons on Yom Tov because that looks like you're collecting pigeons, hunting and
I have one
ways.
pigeon in my roof, Rabbi.
But that's not this.
No, but Yom Tov is good because you're allowed to focus on the shochet, but on Shabbos you can't do that.
No, but I'm saying even so, even though on Yom Tov you're allowed a shechta, but there's halachas about a ladder, if you can move it from one to the other.
It was there before, yeah.
It depends.
From one Shabbat to one Shabbat.
I don't remember where, but there are limits. There are limits of where you can move it
It's
to.
from your house to the Shabbat, no, but from one Shabbat to one Shabbat.
But I'm just saying, that's not this. Over here, there's nothing. What's the ladder? Big deal.
So you're allowed.
I think so. I don't see why not.
Why say
It's not
yes?
like that.
Over there, they're saying that if it wasn't there from before, they might be saying that they take it out from your house to be attacking something. But we're gonna take the ladder out, put it against the roof, why people are going to suspect that you're going to fix something?
Fix your roof.
Why climbing up? In general, climbing up to be able to fix something.
Really?
Because it wasn't this, I'm just telling you
I don't know.
what the Mishnah said. If it wasn't Mucham from before for the purpose to bring it on one shoulder.
Okay, I have to look it up. I don't know. Nowadays, 1 in every 100 persons knows how to fix a roof. Everybody gets balls stuck on the roof. But how many people actually know how to fix it? I don't know. Not sure. Okay, straw in a yard. These are all. Yeah. Okay, so when it comes to straw in a yard, again, this is
Do we have to look like we're dropping it by accident?
What's that? The straw?
Do we have to do it in a way that doesn't look like we're putting it down?
No, you just have to do it with the shinoi. You bring it in an overturned basket instead of the regular way. And it's only straw, not sand, because sand you might leave there and it looks like you're fixing the floor. But straw you're going to take after it dries up and feed to your animals. Okay, bottom line, 7.3.14. Moving right along.
Nowadays, can we do sand because it's not normal and no one would think we're fixing anything because that's not how we fix it?
What do you mean, do sand? Explain the case.
Well, we're saying that we can't use straw. We can't use sand, but we can use straw because the straw you'll pick up afterwards to feed your animals, right?
So give me a case when you want to use the sand.
So let's say it's Sukkot and you're outside and it's very wet. Could you spread sand there?
Oh, sand on the concrete, you're saying?
Whatever, concrete.
Yeah, sand on the ground is a problem because the whole point is you might leave it there and you probably will leave it there. You're not going to collect the sand on the ground. Sand on the concrete, maybe, because it's you're going to remove it. It doesn't stay in the concrete. On the other hand, you're probably just going to have a very muddy sukkah floor if you put sand on it. So, I don't know. Perhaps on concrete it's mutter because it doesn't look like you can leave it.
It's chidush.
You have to have the sand mukhan from
Really, I
before.
did not think about that.
Yes, sand has to be mukhan before. But if you have sand for playing, by the way, that's considered mukhan. Sand for playing is prepared. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like a toy. Okay. A barrel, breaking a hole in a barrel. Mutar or asr? Making a hole, breaking it open.
I think you're,
Depends on the size.
I think you're right. You
I think it's mutter.
Depends on the size and what else.
and the top, not in the bottom.
The top also, yeah, it's easier if the top is not part of the barrel. If the barrel is already open and you just stuck something called a magufa on top of it, you can make a hole in that magufa because that's not considered part of the barrel. That's also correct. But what about the barrel itself?
If you do it before Shabbat and then you can take it out.
I'm talking about breaking it open on Shabbos.
For food?
For food.
Yeah, I think so allowed.
That's it? Allowed? Simple?
No, it's not so simple, but some
Depends if it's there's two types. If it's rawa, like there's a name for
Mustiki.
mustiki.
Exactly. It depends if it's a complete barrel or if it's a barrel that was already broken and put back together with tar. That's correct. This is all based on Tosfos that says that there is Binyan BeKeilim. So a real barrel you can't break because that's steril. But a broken barrel that was just put back together, you can break again. That was the opinion of Tosfos. I guess it's Aramaic. I don't know. I'm not familiar with it, but I guess it's Aramaic.
mustiki,
Yeah,
no mastic.
maybe. Maybe. Okay.
The mustik is the
מאיפה זה מסטיק?
מסטיק?
Yeah.
סלנג, זה גום לעיסה.
אבל מאיזה סלנג זה? Maybe it comes from Arabic. Maybe Arabic comes from Aramaic.
Mastic is resin, isn't it?
Sorry?
Mastic is resin, gum resin.
Oh, is that what it actually is?
I think it might be from a tree.
Okay. Okay. Actually, you know what? I just want to go back to something because we were discussing before fixing things that are connected to the ground. I wanted to discuss plunging a toilet. What did we say about it?
If you can go down a little bit, then it's allowed. If not, it's not.
You're
It's
allowed.
allowed. It's mokum lahater.
Makom lahater.
More reason to be lenient if we go down a
If
little
not,
bit.
then it's not allowed.
No, it's not.
Also, we said if it's a toilet that is always getting clogged, so maybe that's just the derech. So it's not like
And if you have only one,
of the svaras was if it's a toilet that's often getting clogged, so you're often plunging it, so it's not considered like a significant act of
Then you'd be allowed to plunge.
more reason to allow it. More reason.
and if you have only one also.
Oh, that's if it's a more of a shasat chak. Maybe you can rely. Maybe you can rely on it, but
Just
certainly.
If it's only one, why you cannot say that for the brioche you have no other toilet in your house?
It has to. It obviously has to have a heter, because that's not a heter.
For the brioche, it's not a header,
No, not to do an Isidaraisa.
and a guy can do it for you, or for the brioche?
Maybe a guy can do it for a kavod abrius, because we find kavod abrius you can do an Isidarabanan. We do find that by going to the bathroom, different isurim, but not simple. But I had a situation last week with whatever, big waste of money. A little shmat that went down, not little, but like a shmat that went down the toilet, blocked, and it took
The whole system.
whatever. It took him 3 hours to get it out, so I had to pay the price. That's life. Next time we'll call
You
you.
can buy a snake on Amazon for about $3.
I have a snake. That snake didn't do anything. He had to go from the roof. He had to snake it from the roof. And then he moved it from from the toilet to the sink, and then from the sink back to the toilet. It was like it's a nightmare. Anyway, that's life. Okay. So anyway, the same question would apply to a sink with a plug, same idea. And yeah.
What company did you call?
Miami Shores Plumbing.
Huh?
Miami Shores.
It's the same family of Root.
Same family?
I mean, they are. It's expensive. They're pricey.
No, but they in the past they did a good job.
When they call, they come. No, they come, okay, let me see. Next week I can come.
Yeah.
But when he's right away, he educates you.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about making openings. Making an opening in a keli. Is an Issur D'Oraisa or an Issur D'Rabbanan? Making an opening. Let's say it's a Binyan Garua. So there's no issue of stira.
Like sardine, okay?
That's if you're doing it above the foot level or under.
No, you're talking about reopening an opening. You're talking about an opening that was already made and it was closed up. So then we said if it's on the bottom, so then it was closed up tightly. So therefore you can't reopen it because it's like a new opening. If it's on the top, then it's not so tight and you can reopen it. I'm talking about making a new opening.
So the question is, there's no problem of opening something to get to something.
Opening in a keli.
I open
I'm sorry, Yossi, what are you saying? No, it's already...
There's no problem in per se with opening something to get to something inside. The problem is, will you be creating a keli?
No, you're saying the same thing that Yoram just said here.
Oh.
You're not creating a keli. It's already a keli. You're making an opening in a keli. Why is that creating a keli? You're making an opening in a keli.
I'm thinking about bottle tops.
That's a separate question because maybe that bottle top was not so usable until you separated that ring. That's a question. I'm talking about a container that you make an opening in the container. Let's say a milk bottle, milk carton, the cardboard milk cartons. You make an opening in that milk carton. Let's say that's called a Binyan Garua because it's not so strong. Is it allowed or not allowed?
It's allowed, right? Because it's food.
There's no heter to cook food.
Cook?
I'm just saying, just because something's food doesn't mean you can do malacha.
But the way you open it,
doesn't work that way.
You mekalkil.
That's another question. If you open it a way of kilkul. I'm not talking about opening in a way of kilkul.
Always.
I'm talking about...
When you open it, you leave some not smooth opening.
Always your mekalkal? I'm talking about you make a nice normal opening the way you want it. Sorry? Why?
So like this, כזו חברים על כל נקב וכאילו אסור להוציא בלבד או להחמיר בלבד. עכשיו מעבור לעשות נקב שחייבים עליהם.
So the answer is, this is the answer I was looking for. The answer I was looking for is that any Pesach that's also lahachnas or lahotzi, anything, any opening that you're going to both take out of and put back into, that is considered an Issur D'Oraisa, because that is considered makab and patish. Then we said you can also not make any opening that is just for one direction, let's say just to pour out of, because you might come to make an opening that goes in both directions.
And Rabbi,
yeah.
We started about the knife.
I'm sorry?
That was the final answer?
No.
Even in Binyan Garua?
Even in Binyan Garua, the only thing you can do is break it open. Shover out of Masachavas. You can break it open, but you can't make a opening.
What about like a bamba bag?
Okay, so that's when we come into the question of one-time use kelim. One-time use kelim, we had the svara to say that it doesn't have the getter of a keli at all. because it's a throwaway object that has no chashivas. And maybe, even more so, maybe it's considered like the peel of a fruit. This was the concept of choislos shotmor, which Reb Moshe says is because it's thrown away, so it becomes bottled to the fruit. So if you say that, then there's room to be megal, because maybe it's not the getter of a keli, so there's no makabeh pata shayach by keli. But not everybody holds to that. So I'm saying if you can break it instead of make an opening, that would be
Hold a knife and just
like I'm just saying, like, use it, make a big opening instead of like a small opening, just like slash it open. You know what I'm saying? That would be
not be specific.
right, and make it big, so in a way of breaking, it would be considered like a break instead of like a opening. Okay, but according to Shlomo Zalman and Rav Moshe, who hold to that heter of choisolos, there would be a heter to open it in a regular way.
2 points about we started about the knife. If you stick it the day before and you take it out, then you're allowed to stick it on Shabbat.
Yeah.
But if not, you may make it bigger on Shabbat.
Yeah.
And that's the same halacha for that one.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a minute, but yes, you're right.
I heard regarding opening this snack bags.
Yeah.
It's not only the believe in Yisur D'Oraisa, open it in the place where it's meant to.
Oh, so that's another issue. That's another issue that in the place that it's glued, so glue is the same as tefira, and ungluing, right, or ripping apart the glue could be the same as korea. So it's better always to do it not in that spot. To do it
Scissors in the middle.
Scissors in the middle, bottom, top, side, whatever. Just not there. Although, for argument's sake, there are matirim even in the place of the glue, because they say that it's a temporary glue. It's not permanent. Even though
it's pressure, it's not glue.
That I don't know. What the Svara to say is that it's not permanent, even though it's many months. So it gets to you, but really they would have liked to get it to you sooner. So their intention is that it should be opened as soon as possible. And therefore,
make a slit. Let's say this is the bag. It's still on top like this.
yeah, or on the side, however.
It's this issue.
Does that
will be apply, those solid containers. You have the cover, and then have like a sealed plastic. You cannot make a neck on it to be able to scoop out the hummus, the salad.
No, that you can. Why not? That's like a magufa sachavas. That was put on with the intention of taking it off. That's no problem.
Around.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that glue. I'm not sure about that glue. Is that considered toifer? When you glue something soft, I'm just saying, I don't know if it's the same as when something soft is glued to something hard. Is it also toifer? You know what I'm saying? It's like the plastic is hard, soft plastic on the top. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say one way or the other. But it's better to be machmer. Better. Sorry? Question? No.
Does that mean that if you have a chocolate wrapper which is glued, the Schmerling's one is now in a card boxy kind of thing.
Yep.
Does that mean that it's better not to break it across the glued bits, but rather to rip through it?
Right. Exactly.
It's very interesting. I was actually at Mendy Schmerling's house a couple of years ago. He said that a couple of people came up to him and said, "How do you open your chocolates on Shabbos?" He said, "Well, I don't know. You just open it and eat it." But there is something to actually how you open it.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, someone holding is okay to open the snack just in a regular way. Someone holding it up. Someone open it, you allow for you to use it. My kids don't open, they know, but sometimes they get snacks, so the friends open it. So then, is it okay?
I think so. There's two reasons. First of all, there's a concept that some things that some people say is mutter lachatchila, even if you don't go by that, even if you don't go by that, but you can rely on it to be nana b'diavad. That's one concept. And the other concept is that there's a svara that maybe it's not considered hano when it's a side benefit. You're not benefiting from the malacha directly, benefiting from the fact that now you can get to the food which is in the bag. You know what I'm saying?
So what's the problem with the chocolate bar again? I didn't get that.
I'm sorry?
What was the problem with the chocolate bar opening up the schmerlings? I didn't understand what the problem was.
No, the question is if you have a box or paper or whatever that's glued, if it's better to break it where it's glued or to break it where it's not glued.
Ah, okay.
So it's better actually where it's not glued. Although you should also be careful not to break the words, the letters, I mean. Okay.
Rabbi, if there are friends and material to do that, why the sun is not material? Let me know.
What's your question?
If the friends allowed to do that, why the sun is not allowed to do it? By
Whose son? Ask him. Why are you asking me?
Because you learned the halakha.
So what's the question?
Why is if the friends allowed to open?
Who said they're allowed? They asked their father, and their father said they're allowed. You have to ask him. Yeah. Understand your question?
Oh.
They're following a different opinion. Well, what can we do? Okay. So now that we're on to this discussion of making openings, how about opening a can of soda?
Allowed. Because it's different. The plastic, it doesn't count. It's like one.
I'm talking about a can of soda. I'm not talking about a bottle of soda. Can of soda. Can. Zalman held it was okay because he held of this concept that anything that you throw away is like a peel. It's not important. And therefore, even though the opening is a nice opening, not important, doesn't make a difference. Sorry? Some hold that you shouldn't. That's the simple.
First of all, it's metal is a bit more chashuv than just a plastic bottle. Discuss it. It's like you're making a keli.
Not making a keli, you're making an opening in a keli. No. That's an arguable svara. Some say that.
Shell, so you're removing the shell, you see? Like opening to reach to the food.
Yeah, that's the happen. That's what Shem Zalman holds. That's what Shem Zalman holds.
You will not be able to open it. It's open already. It's not to open.
That's what Shem Zalman holds. The Tehillah the David.
I don't open, but I'm.
The Tehillah the David holds that anything that could be reused, even if we don't reuse it, anything that could be reused is a problem of Binyan Gomer, and not. He didn't hold of this concept of one-time use being like a peel. That's what. So according to that, it's a problem. So that with cans, opening cans, same thing. Yes.
Alter Rebbe, the concept of a soda can in his day would probably be different than now. No,
he didn't discuss soda cans at all. He didn't discuss cans at all. The Tehillah of David,
the peel the concept of the peel.
All he discussed was concept of the peel. But the way he learned the concept of peel is not because it's thrown away, but because simply it's a binyan gurua. It's a not a strong kind of keli. So based on that is where they say that he would hold to say that we would be strict if it's a strong kind of keli, regardless of whether you personally decide to throw it out or not. So that's where the strictness comes from. He doesn't discuss cans at all.
No, I understand that, but I'm just saying conceptually, isn't it easier to pass in that way now, like we're flowing only because we have all.
No, but it's all based on his understanding of that chisala shel tmorim being mutter because it's a throwaway item. Alter Rebbe doesn't say that reason that it's mutter because it's a throwaway item, but rather because it's simply a weak keli, which would indicate that if it's a strong keli, even if you personally decide to throw it away, that perhaps it's not. It is considered a keli. That's the question. But anyway, bottle caps. What did we say?
Plastic is
Shlomo Zalman had a heter for plastic, but not for metal. Some, by the way, forbid even plastic, just for your information. And some permit even metal.
What else is strict not to open the can?
Sorry?
Besides the other David, who's holding that the can is issue?
I know nowadays there's the Knei Boisim was very strict. Mayor Braunzofer was his name. Knei Boisim is the name of his sefer. Very strict about it.
Rabbi, the metal, if it's a small one with orange, it's okay, but not the long one. The long one is considered to be. Right? If it's a small one.
I wasn't sure about that. I wasn't sure about that. I wasn't sure why the metal is more strict. I thought that it was only because it was long and not short, but maybe it's because the way they make it is that it doesn't have the form of a keli. It's made by pressing it down, and maybe when you take it off the first time, that's when it gets its status as a keli. I'm not sure.
So we machmir on the metal any size? Or is the same halacha for the plastic and the metal small size?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Some are makel on all metal, by the way. Some are makel anyway. Some are machmir even on plastic.
Which one is makel?
On all metal or bavadia?
Bavadia?
Yeah. He's makel on all bottle caps. And some are machmir also on plastic, so it's nice to be machmer, at least on metal, even small metal, because it's a machlokes, at least for that.
Why for the kiddush is it different halacha?
No.
Same halacha?
Same halacha.
You have to open it for Shabbat.
Yeah.
You said Rav Ovadia was lenient on all bottle caps?
Yeah.
Okay.
He held that it's not a significant change with the ring. Without the ring, he felt that was not enough to make it something different.
So that's even metal.
Sorry?
Even metal.
Even metal, yeah.
What did we finally conclude about the bottles at the Shabbos for burning? We had conflicting opinions.
We had conflicting opinions about that. It seems like it did happen sometimes, but did the Rebbe approve officially? Did he not approve? It's not clear. Okay. Okay, you're talking about knives and barrels, so that is correct. If a knife was put into a barrel, it was stuck in and out before Shabbos, and then put back in, you can take it out on Shabbos because it's not going to make the hole any bigger.
Not even if it was stuck, pulled out once.
If it was pulled out once and then stuck in again, you can pull it out on Shabbos. But if not, because you might make it bigger. If it was, although actually we did question that psak, by the way. We did question that psak. That's the psak of the Ramah. The Machaber says no. The Machaber says you can take it out even the first time on Shabbos.
So based on this, can you say that, let's say if you have a nail in the wall, but it's cut very easy each time it falls. If you fall on Shabbos, you have to put it back in.
What does a nail do?
But it can hang something on it.
I don't think it's a problem. You can put it back. It's not attached. It's just sitting there. It's okay.
And you could put the picture on top of it.
Yeah, putting a picture is not also on Shabbos. That's not a building. It's not part of the building. It's just sitting there. It's like a parochas, like a mechitza. We said you could hang a mechitza on Shabbos, even from something that's attached to the ground, because that's not really adding to the building. It's just tznius. So certainly a picture. It's not really part of the building.
Is mechitza where you can see the woman's faces, just not their bodies around? What's the height of a mechitza?
For the machmir, the machmir it's a 4 feet close and then a screen on the top for the Chabad. I build one. If it's not covered all the way to here, it's
the Lubavitcher Rebbe held 6 feet, average height of a person.
So 4 feet close and 2 feet the screen. Right?
Like I said, the Lubavitcher Rebbe held 6 feet. I can say it again.
Sagur.
Sagur, it doesn't have to be sealed with metal. It has to be that you can't see through it. Can be curtains too. It doesn't have to be sagur with metal.
So the woman doesn't know to look anything on Torah or anything.
She can look. She can peek. She can find a hole. She can peek through.
How can she know? It's like 6 feet. It's like a
6 feet. Moshe was more makel. He said, I think shoulder height. I think he had a heter for shoulder height. Pretty sure. I don't know the exact measurements, but he has a long tshuva about it.
No, we have a wall.
Shoulder, which shoulder, Rabbi?
Shoulder.
I don't remember. He has a shear.
So
We
which
also
shoulder?
have those mirror.
Which shoulder? How high is the shoulder, Rabbi?
There's a shear.
Oh, that's what
He writes the shear.
Sure.
I don't remember what it is. All right, by the way, taking a knife out of the side of a barrel, it could be, it is mutter. Machaber holds it is mutter. And the Magen Avraham says that Meikar Adin, we could paskin like the Machaber, because there was a numerous factors coming together. First of all, the whole idea of this hole, which is not made for going in and out, is not a Issa D'Oraisa. Plus, your intention is not to make the hole. You just want the knife. That's called a psik reisha de loy nichale. That's not.
In a way, you want the liquid now.
No, you just want the knife. I'm not talking about if you want the liquid. That's not a psik reisha. That's a davar hamskab. If you want the opening, then it's not a psik reisha anymore. Then it's more strict. But if you don't want the opening, you just want the knife. So then it's psik reisha de loy nichale. Plus, you're doing it in a kalachayad way. It's not a normal way to make an opening to pull out a knife. So all these factors put together really make our din. You could do it. The minhag is not to do it, he said. And certainly not to pull it out of a wall, by the way. A knife that's stuck into a wall. These are all things that are in the past when they used to stick knives into walls. But in any case, that's also not allowed because you're going to make the wall and the hole bigger. Again, what's the purpose of the wall and the hole? Nothing, but maybe you would have a use for it to stick something into it to use to hang something from, and it's a psik reisha. So the minhag was to be strict, but even there we said it's a psik reisha le'nichale, it's a mekalkel, it's a kalachayad. Meikar din, we said it should be mutter. It's only the minhag was not to do it. The Maisa, the only thing we said was actually allowed was to pull a knife out of a bench. If the knife was stuck into the bench, then you can pull it out for the first time on Shabbos, because then you're not even creating any kind of opening. There's no opening. There's nothing on the other side. You understand? There, all you're doing is mekal, just making a hole, and that's also not intentional. It's kalachayad, everything we said before, and that's the only thing that was actually allowed.
If you have a nail sticking out of the bench, you don't have to knock it in.
Knock it in?
It's money. It's better for you to take it out, Rabbi, right?
knocking a nail in.
A little bit more in. It's already in, but it's sticking out.
It's מכה בפטיש, הוא מסיים את העבודה.
But go
לא, הוא בחוצה, מסביר, אמרת להכניס אותו. קצת. מכה בפטיש הוא אבל.
גם בלי המסמר הזה, אתה עכשיו גם.
לא, העיקרון שהמסמר הוא לא בפנים, ואתה רוצה להכניס אותו בפנים, לסיים את העבודה.
אם זה מחזק את ה... If it strengthens it, it's for sure not allowed. If it strengthens it. Amen? If not, I mean, it's certainly uved in the choil. Certainly uved in the choil.
Would it should be something else with a chair?
So Rabbi, it would be better to...
Given the choice, is it better to remove it or knock it
Knocking
in?
against the floor?
Assuming it's not going to strengthen.
I don't know.
It's something like you're allowed to remove the knife from the bench, you're allowed to remove the nails from the bench, Rabbi.
That's a good idea, actually. It's a good
Because
idea.
if you sit, it's bothering you.
It's a good idea. He says, good. Take it out. We're learning now, you can take it out.
Yeah.
If you take it out, you're not doing anything.
To take it out, I have to put it 1 inch. To push it in, it's only
Finish the job.
1/8 of the inch. To take it out, for sure, I have to use a tool. Knock it in, I can just knock it against the wall, knock it against the floor.
And then you'll be able to leave it after Shabbat.
If it doesn't strengthen the bench, I could hear the svara to be matir. But I don't know. I don't know. Okay. Now, we don't really use barrels, so this whole thing is
I
just...
don't have a bench. Sometimes they have one.
Okay. We don't really use barrels, so this whole discussion is just theoretical, but it could have nafkamina for other cases.
Just quick question for you allowed to take a hammer and remove the nails?
Yeah.
Why not just leave it in the floor? Take it out with a hammer.
Hammer, I mean, no.
We
I
said
thought
you could
take
use a
the
hammer for
to-
permissible
For
uses.
to eat
For
the
nuts.
the nuts.
For example,
yeah.
you could use a hammer to open a coconut. And we even said you could use a drill when there is a need to make a permissible hole. Like we just said, if the hole is on top of the, you know what I'm saying, it's not on the bottom, or if it's where the spout is anyway, so there's already a hole there. We said you could even use a drill to do that hole.
Like a corkscrew or a can opener.
But
Well, what do you mean?
Well, you can use things like corkscrews and can openers for permissible uses.
Yeah. I mean, a corkscrew is not even muksa because its use is permissible. Can opener is questionable. In other words, if you hold that you're not usually allowed to open cans and you're doing it in a way that's permissible, based on the opinions that we didn't say it, but still it's allowed as long as you do it.
But I thought we said we can make a hole at the bottom and a hole at the top with a can, and then you have no problem.
Yes, some say that. Yes, indeed. We didn't go over it.
Is that not universal?
No, it's not universal. No.
is that allowed to do it in an empty barrel or because we want to drink the wine?
Only because you want to drink the wine.
Drink the wine,
Yeah.
not in an empty barrel.
No. Shover Adam as Achavis. The whole simon of Shulchan Aruch starts off that you're allowed to break the barrel, lechol hemenu groigers, to eat the figs inside. It's only because you want to eat. Otherwise, you can't break stuff on Shabbos, even if it doesn't make a keli and it's not a malacha. It's time to break on Shabbos. Can do. Okay. So spouts in a barrel. You want to make you have a barrel that has an opening. You want to put a spout in it so the wine doesn't go down the side. It comes out.
I think this is
What?
so to do that. It was open before?
Yeah, you're not making the hole. You're just putting in the
yes,
spout.
you're allowed to do that.
Allowed.
Yes.
Allowed? That's it? Next.
Allow is like there was a hole before, it was sealed, and then you redo it with a drill to put the spout inside. It's allowed.
I'm not talking about the drill. Let's say the drill is allowed because it's not on the bottom where it's tight. But I'm talking about putting in a little pipe, a little straw, so that the wine won't fall down, but it'll come out.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. You pointed with the straw, with stuff like that. I'm not sure. I'm not giving the okay.
Okay.
I'm not giving
So the answer is if it's a pipe, you're allowed to, or a straw. We said if it's a leaf, then you cannot.
What's leaf?
A leaf. Aleh shel hadas. You can't use a leaf. Why? Because there you're actually forming it. You're wrapping it up. You're making it. And when you're taking the pipe, you're just sticking it in. Now, maybe you'll cut it. Why should you cut it? But if you're actually forming it, something that doesn't have that shape yet, you're putting that shape in, so that could lead to actually making.
You may cut it to make it finish it.
You may cut it, or you may cut something else.
Yes.
Or another thing is that you may cut it off the branch if it doesn't work. Two opinions. You may cut something, anything to the right size, or you may cut another leaf specifically.
The pipe is okay.
Put it in.
We mentioned about the lid, sorry.
The lid,
So the spout is okay.
It's
the
open
leaf.
if you allow to put.
The spout is okay. A leaf is not okay. Ripping leather.
If you make a straight line, you don't allow to do that. You can cut for fun. Piece of paper, we studied about that. I don't know about the letter. If it's the same halacha, yes.
If your wine barrel is covered with leather, can you cut through the leather to get to the wine?
The ktav?
No, leather, no ktav. Or
if you don't make a straight line exactly the same size for that,
yeah,
I think you're allowed to do that.
correct. You're allowed to break open the leather to get to the wine inside. But you can't cut it in a measured way. That's true. That's called mechatech, if you cut it in a measured way. The reason that it's not considered koreya, why is it not considered koreya? Ripping.
Because it has the almanac for.
So on.
You're not trying to make anything. You're just,
The truth is the Yerushalmi suggests that maybe the difference is with your hand or with a keli. But I don't think we pass like that opinion. Ripping could be either with your hand or with the keli. I'm sorry?
I said you're not trying to make any, like it's not measured. You're just ripping it open. You're destroying to get something inside.
As far as measured, I hear you. It's not mechatech. Mechatech is only measured. But korea, ripping,
Almanac lit for.
it does not have to do with measure. Amanas lit for us to be a deraisa. But to be a derabanan, any korea would be aster.
Even if it's going to damage the bag.
So what?
How is it different to opening any packet?
I hear your question, yes.
So it's just like a peel to get in.
First of all, it's not a peel, because in those days they didn't throw anything out. Everything was used and reused. Besides peels. Alter Rebbe said a big chiddush here, my friends. This was the basis of the Chiddush of the Alter Rebbe, that Korea only applies to something that was put together from different pieces. Like when you sew a garment, it's put together of many threads. Then when you rip it, that's Korea. Or if you glued something together and you rip it, that's Korea, etc., etc. But something that is just one piece, the whole Isur of Korea doesn't apply. That was the basis of the Alter. This brisa that says if you let to rip open the leather was the basis for that Chiddush of the Alter Rebbe. Not everybody agrees with that Chiddush. Then Mishnah Berurah questions it based on Yerushalmi, and so on. So, for the information, the Mishnah Berurah doesn't hold it.
This always made from two pieces.
No, it's not made of two pieces.
Pieces. So together, they're well covered with this.
And you can't rip it where it's sewn together. Rip it the other direction or on the side. You can't rip it where it's sewn together. So, this is how we explain. You can
another material that is not always not going to be allowed.
No, anything that's one piece, that's not put together with different pieces. A piece of paper, for example, that you can rip. Now, you were asking before about ripping stam. You can't just stam rip for no reason. There has to be a reason for you to rip. You understand? You need something, food, something. Otherwise, stam you can't rip. But if you have a need for it, then you can rip if it's one piece. Paper, plastic.
So a garment basically is made from pure sweat, you cannot use it.
Can't rip. All right, my friends, we are not quite finished. We got up to 14 out of 20, not bad. So we'll finish it tomorrow night, Mitzvah Hashem, as well as 3:15, Be'ezer Hashem. And I will let you know about Monday, Mitzvah Hashem.
Oh, I won't need them also. You're gonna text, you're gonna...
Yeah, good idea. If it's only partially clogged, is okay. I think we said before. Canister not allowed, though, it says. Partially clogged there's room to be lenient. And canister, according to Alter Rebbe, would seem to be forbidden. Would seem to be. I'm not saying for sure, but the heter is not clear, at least. Let's put it that way.
What did we say? Why can't you just destroy something like the piece of paper or the keli if I'm not trying to get anything out of it? What was the reason?
Hold on one second before somebody leaves. Why you're not subscribed to my channel?
Let me check right now.
I'm for sure not.
Do a search for Arya Citron, and then you'll see my channel on YouTube, and subscribe. Sorry, Daniel, one more time.
Okay, about 5 minutes ago, you said it was usher to destroy a keli if you didn't need anything inside of it. And is that the same thing with the paper here? You can't rip the paper if you don't need the papers.
If you don't need something on the other side of the paper, correct. You shouldn't just rip paper on Shabbos.
And also a keli, you shouldn't just destroy a keli for the same reason.
Exactly.
And what was the reason?
What's the reason? That's an interesting question. What's the reason? What's the reason?
This is the first one.
This is the one right now. Just live. That's live. That's an interesting question. What's the reason? Because I said before. that the simon starts that Shever Adam Asachavas Lechel Hinenu Groigros. You're allowed to break it, but only if you want to eat the groigros. You can't just go breaking things and saying, well, it's not a keli. Ein Binyan BeKeilim. So I can break things. No, it has to be for a purpose. But
what's the malacha?
What's the problem with breaking things if it's mutter?
Yeah, but it's only what they're for that purpose.
Why? Why is it only mutter? That's the question. Why is it only mutter for that purpose? If it's not a malacha, so why not?
What, to break?
Yeah.
Just to break for the fun?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It's for, you can't break these for fun. It has to be for a purpose.
What, about tashkas you're saying?
Yeah?
No, he's
Well, I
saying
know that it's about touch.
he's not saying because of Bal Tashlis. He's saying
because you wouldn't. It's not something you'd be wasting. You wouldn't.
I'm not
No,
sure.
if you
I'm
didn't
thinking.
break them, you're not wasting.
I'm
them.
thinking maybe it's just a tircha on Shabbos. Maybe it's just unnecessary work on Shabbos,
It's like,
unnecessary bother. Like muktzah, you mean to touch something you're not
necessarily.
doing anything with. Maybe. Okay, have a good night.
Okay. Thanks.
Good night. Thank you.
Good night.
Yeah.